ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨਵੀਂ ਤਾਜ਼ੀ ਵਿੱਚ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਗਿਆ, ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਖਾਸ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਨੇ ਸਟੂਅਰਟ ਬੈਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਪੱਤਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ। ਲਾਰੈਂਸ ਬਿਸ਼ਨੋਈ ਦੀ ਗਤੀਵਿਧੀਆਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਹਿਮ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਖਬਰ ਨਸ਼ਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਏਪੀ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉੱਘੇ ਗਾਇਕ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਹਮਲਾ ਹੋਇਆ। ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਮਾਮਲਾ ਰੌਸ਼ਨੀ 'ਚ ਲਿਆਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਹਰਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਿੱਜਰ ਦੇ ਕਤਲ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ੱਕੀ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ। ਕੀ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਪੈਟਰਨ ਹੈ? ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਨਵੀਂ ਤਾਜ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਪਰ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲਾਰੈਂਸ ਬਿਸ਼ਨੋਈ ਦੇ ਗੈਂਗ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਇਸ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਜੋ ਹਮਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਇੱਕ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਵੀ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਇਰਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਲੋਕਾਂ 'ਚ ਖੌਫ ਪੈਦਾ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ। ਇਹ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਵੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਚਰਚਿਤ ਰਿਹਾ। ਸੋ ਆਓ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਹ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਿੱਛੋਂ ਸਟੂਅਰਟ ਬੈਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ। Stuart, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So, Stuart, what is the story of Bishnoi foot soldier all about?
Well, I mean, we've been hearing about Bishnoi for the last couple of years in Canada, but really only in the most general kind of way. You know, we've been hearing about Lawrence Bishnoi and some of the obviously the rash of extortions that have been happening, primarily targeting the South Asian community in Brampton and Surrey in particular. But we really haven't seen a lot of details about how it's operating, or who are these people, these foot soldiers that are, that are committing these acts of crime for the organization. So I've been trying for a while to find a way to tell that story, and we had one of the cases recently came to sentencing, which allowed me to get access to the file. I got the judge to declassify, to unseal the various documents, and so that it was the first time I've really been able to see, who are these people and why are they getting involved in it. So I think it's an opportunity to begin to examine this organization, because obviously we want to take it apart.
Certainly. Now, what more can you tell us about your subject, Abjit Kingra, or how the Bishnoi gang has been roping in foreign students like him?
hmm Well, as you said, he was a foreign student. He was from Punjab. I'm not sure exactly where. According to the judge who sentenced him, his parents, as you know, with many parents, sacrificed for him to get him a student visa so he could come to Canada and get started with his life. And I think the hope was that he would get an education and a job and eventually earn his permanent residence. But he was here for a couple of years. He struggled with school. He had trouble finding employment, and he was working in a moving company in Winnipeg, apparently doing, he was a hard worker according to his boss, but in his own words, he felt like he was not generating enough money for his family, that he was failing them. And he had this opportunity to make what he considered to be quick, easy money, which was to carry out a couple of jobs for the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. So he took a leave from his moving job and went to BC, and that's where he got in trouble.
So, what parallels you see between Kingra and Karan Brar, one of the suspects in the Niger murder case, as your own report tells us about him being in Canada on student visa?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. I think we're still waiting to hear a lot of the details that will emerge at the trial. But from what we know, it sounds like a very similar pattern. Young Punjabi men who are coming to Canada. Obviously, the economic situation for them is not great. The opportunities for them in India itself are not too optimistic. And so they seem to be looking for a better future, as everyone does. And they've come to Canada. Now, from what I understand, this is not the circumstance for all of the Bishnoi members.
Right.
obviously they are recruiting people here that are on student visas to carry out tasks, but at the same time, my understanding is that there are also specific people that are being sent to Canada as well with jobs. Because as you are aware, if they were involved in Bishnoi activity, it would be challenging them for them probably to get passports to be able to leave India itself in the first place. But so I think there's a combination. But I think some of the people that are being brought in to perform these extortions, these shootings and threats, it seems like there are a component of them that are very much like these people that are
Right.
just young, want money, see this as an opportunity to make quick cash.
Yeah, but this cannot be a coincidence. I mean, if I will appreciate if you can unpack your statement on the pattern you see.
Well, obviously, 1 year ago, almost exactly, the RCMP went public with very damaging allegations that Bishnoi was in fact being used as an agent of the Indian government. That
Hmm.
the RCMP has been able to trace a number of the shootings, extortions, killings across Canada, not just to the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, but in fact, ultimately behind this, they see the government of India,
Hmm.
by which I believe they mean Raw.
Hmm.
And I think what the belief of the RCMP and security services in Canada is that the Raw sees particularly the Khalistan movement in Canada as a threat and has targeted a number of individuals in Canada that they consider to be
Hmm.
uh, problematic. And in order to carry out the shootings, extortions, or threats against these people, they have contracted the Lawrence Bishnoi gang to perform those things. Now, the individual foot soldiers on the ground who are doing this may not always be aware, of ultimately where the orders are coming from, or even the significance of the targets. Nijar, I'm sure they were aware that this is a very high-profile person. He was obviously shot at the temple where he was president, but so there does seem to be this element where, um, I think the Lawrence Bishnoi gang is a gang. It's a criminal organization, and its primary motive is to make money and to be
Okay.
powerful. But at the same time, I think even as part of that same goal, um, they see cooperating with the government of India to carry out some of the things that the Indian government wants done
Hmm.
is also a way of establishing its power and making money.
Hmm.
And so, you saw in the Panun case, for example, it was a different organized crime network that was contracted for that killing by Raw. But what were they offered? Not just money, but they were also offered the dismissal of charges that they faced
Hmm.
with India. So you can see how a criminal organization like Bishnoi
Hmm.
might be willing to do a few jobs
Right.
for a government source in order to have an easier time to go about its primary task, which is to make a lot of money through crime.
Right. Right. Now, being a seasoned journalist, what is your own assessment about Bishnoi gang and how powerful it is in India and also in diaspora?
Well, I really can't speak to how powerful it is in India, except for the fact that despite being imprisoned
Hmm.
since 2015, Lawrence Bishnoi seems to have been able to commit a lot of crimes. Within Canada, obviously, it has become a menace
Hmm.
with the various extortions, which I think have been amplified also. I think the Lawrence Bishnoi gang itself are doing extortions, as
Hmm.
we've seen. I think we've also seen an amplification of that in the sense that I think opportunists are now extorting people and claiming to be Goldie Brar or high level Bishnoi people when they're really not. And so I think that has just created an even greater extortion problem.
Right.
I mean, this is obviously such become such a concern in Canada, particularly Ontario and BC, that we now have extortion task forces in both provinces. And we have, I mean, the federal government has just recently declared Bishnoi a national security threat in the sense that it's been added as a terrorist organization to
Right.
Canada's list, which I think, I mean, obviously the list of terrorist groups is not something that is meant for criminal organizations, but I think the nexus between Bishnoi and the Indian government is what has pushed it into this realm of being considered to be a terrorist organization, which is, obviously terrorism is not just crime, it's crime with an additional motive that is either political, nationalistic, ideological. In this case, clearly it falls into the political nationalistic category because of the linkages between Bishnoi and the Indian government.
Do you think it's really going to make any difference considering the fact that the extortions are still going on across Canada?
I'm not sure because I'm not convinced that listing Bishnoi really added a lot of clout to what law enforcement can do.
Hmm.
There was some speculation that, oh, it allows the deportations and things like that. Well, any Bishnoi member could have already been deported for criminality. That's already part of the law. So I'm not sure adding, terrorism.
Hmm.
It does have some implications in terms of financing. So no financial institutions are allowed to have any dealings with Bishnoi. But again, the issue is identifying who are those people that are moving money and how they're connected. But I mean, I think it is a signal that this is something that Canada is now
Right.
intending to take seriously. And we have seen a number of arrests arising especially recently as these task forces are getting underway. And now we have a conviction in this case, at least. So let's see if they're able to bring this group under control before it does any further damage to the South Asian community.
Absolutely. Well, Stuart, it was nice talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything I didn't ask you before I let you go?
No, I think you covered it. Thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate it.
Yes, Stuart, talk to you again. Bye for now.
Yeah, thanks. Take care.
Bye. ਦੋਸਤੋ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਇਨ ਦ ਮੀਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਚੈਨਲ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ ਔਰ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਲਈ ਪ੍ਰੇਰੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ ਸੋ ਆਗਿਆ ਤੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਹੈਵ ਅ ਗੁੱਡ ਨਾਈਟ